What's up, everybody? I'm Matt Welty. We are here. Chris Gibbs.
What up?
James Bond.
Afternoon.
Just to talk about this random shoe. Never heard of it, never seen it before.
Little something, something.
Undefeated Air Jordan 4s, 20 years.
20 years in the making. Back again.
Before we start, some people may be confused. Chris, you're the Union guy, but you're here to talk about the Undefeated shoe. Can you just give a quick explanation of that?
Yeah, of course. In addition to everything I do with Union, I'm also the creative director at Undefeated. Undefeated and Union kind of have been hand in hand for a really long time. Actually, when I first moved out to LA, I worked for Undefeated first. So, and James and Eddie have always been super supportive of everything I've done, and I've just try and contribute and give back. So I've been involved with Undefeated since I moved to LA, which was in 2003. So excited to be a part of this.
Yeah, so as everyone knows, this is the Air Jordan 4 Undefeated 2005. 72 pairs, supposedly, right?
72. 66 made it to the office.
I mean, the shoe gets, some people evaluate it up to $40,000. Mm-hmm. Did you ever think that the shoe would come back?
No, I never thought it would come back because I felt that there was a mystique about it for so long. The industry was so precious about some of that, some of the objects that are out there. And over time, as the business has changed, we felt that things weren't as precious, so we were kind of like, let's bring it back if we have the opportunity. And the opportunity just happened, kind of happenstance, and here we are.
And do you remember making this shoe? This is the first Air Jordan collaboration ever. Do you remember like them hitting you up, being like, hey, we're going to give you a shoe?
No, I mean, it happened kind of how things happened in the early 2000s for us, where we were all in the store late evening, kind of about to close up, and we were just in there kind of shooting the shit like we do. And Mark Parker walks in with Tinker Hatfield and Lance Armstrong, and we're just 20, 30 minutes into a conversation. That's just how it was. This is how La Brea was. And people randomly walked into the office, or so anyway, we were talking to him. He asked Eddie, my partner at the time, like, what would you do? And Eddie said, I would do a shoe based on the BlackBerry, because we were all obsessed with our BlackBerries at the time. And then 2-3 weeks later, the sample shows up, and it's kind of based on the colorway of the BlackBerry. And again, people in the office, Paul Middleman's in there. He's like, if you guys have an opportunity, this is what I would do. And then hence MA1 jacket, kind of the ethos of Undefeated when we started was very military inspired, kind of the vernacular things that we were doing, color palettes, etc. So hence the shoe.
I'd heard a story early on, and I don't know if there's any truth behind this, but that like the Eminem Air Jordan 4 was somehow connected to the Undefeated 4. Is there any sort of truth to that?
Are we allowed to talk about that?
It's like, who knows? I mean, I think there's so many variations that have been sitting around, and I think like any of us, when we're in Portland, we see something on somebody's desk, we're like, yo, that's dope. What is that? Can I do that? And I think throughout a kind of a back and forth and different samplings, I think things come to life, and there might be some truth to it. I mean,
that was the most political answer you ever gave to.
I mean, it's literally it's not just one of the most hyped sneakers of all time. It's two of the most hyped sneakers of all time that come out of the same Genesis story, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about it, there were very few people doing it in the early 2000s. There were like 6 to 8 stores. And I think somewhere along the line, all of us have touched one of each other's shoes, and they're kind of the pinnacle shoe of our collaborations. We've all been in someone's office where we're like, that's a dope color, and it ends up on someone's shelf. So who knows?
Did you know that this was magic when you did it, or you're just like, hey, it's cool, we got to make a sneaker?
I think like anything in the beginning, it was all new, so everything felt fresh. Everything was kind of like, we were just doing, I hate to use it, I'm going to do Kanye, but we just did dope shit to do dope shit. And that's how it kind of came about, to be honest with you. And we were looking to have fun, and that's what we got.
Yeah, because I remember when we had Just Blaze on Full Size Run, he had talked about how he had hit you guys up and tried to work his way to get a few pairs when they first came out. Was that like a common occurrence back then when the shoe released, that everyone was like hitting you up, trying to figure out how to get them, or?
Over time, yes, because there wasn't like it is now where you post something on Instagram and it immediately floods the market. There was really no social media like that at the time. So as people heard about it, they were like, yo, does that really exist? A pair would drop here, a pair would drop there. And just got a pair.
Yeah.
One. but he got a pair. I don't have a pair. He
I
got
don't have
one.
a pair.
Wait, you don't have a pair of the shoes?
I don't have a pair of the originals, no.
You never had them?
I had them for a brief moment, and then Alex, our manager in Santa Monica, had a client whose kid was going to Michael Jordan's basketball camp. And he was really kind of like a big client, so I gave him my pair to take to camp to get an autograph. Because at the time, there wasn't really not that much value to them.
Yeah.
You know, they were just a really great sneaker, and I was like, I got tons of sneakers. I own the
I feel like
company,
there
what
was
am I
still
gonna do?
probably some, like, they were still worth a few $1,000s back then, you know?
Probably, but, you know, I owned the
What's a
company,
few
like, what was I going to
$1,000
do,
to
you know?
James Bond?
Yeah.
Well, then I wasn't making any money. We weren't making jack then, you know. We're robbing Peter to pay Paul. But I think it was more about, again, what Undefeated's always been about, the community, the kids. It was for a kid, so it was like, I'm not going to dog him out and make him pay all this money, you know. But over time, I'm sure his parents and he came back and supported the brand, so we got the money at some point.
And Chris, what's your first memory of the shoe when you first saw it?
Like I said, in 2004, I was working for Undefeated.
Yeah.
So I remember us kind of ideating a couple different times. Same kind of story James told about Mark Parker. Kind of trying to figure out what story we wanted to tell. Eddie had first forwarded the idea because it was kind of like unexpected, right? Like Mark Parker just walks in and is like, "Well, what do you want to do?" It's kind of like, "For real?"
Yeah.
Like, you know, and I think he might have probably had his phone in his hand, like, you know. And then when the first sample came back and we realized it was real, Eddie was like, wait, I don't know if that's the one, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we kind of retooled it, and you know, as James said, just try to, like, there's always been a heavy military kind of sensibility around Undefeated, so made sense. At that time, if you think about it, most shoes that are in the marketplace are white or black, white with blue. You know, there wasn't a lot of color, so to really lean into the color of it all and really make a you know, today this is closer to normal, but in 2004 when we're ideating this, it's like crazy to think to do something. An olive drab AJ4 would be kind of insane.
I think, didn't Jordan end up making like Air Jordan 8? That was like a similar colorway too at one point.
Yes.
Were you guys
They
involved?
did a 6, they did an 8, I believe, as well.
I mean, there's 4s that
Yeah.
look, you know. Actually, on the flight over here, there was a guy wearing a 4, and I was like, how did the motherfucker get these shoes before? And then I realized it's like one of the other releases.
Do you see stuff like that and see your guys' influence in it, or is it just kind of like, hey, that's just the way everything turned?
Of course, I mean, everyone's influencing everybody, you know.
Yeah.
It's kind of it's nice to see that, you know, and it's an honor, to be on somebody's feet. It's an honor that you inspire other people and like-minded people. So, I mean, I'm never that guy like, I can't believe they did that shit. It's always good.
Nothing new under the sun. We're all, you know, inspired by, you know, was the designer of the MA1 going to come after us now? You know what I mean? Like, so yeah, it's inspiring. And I also think, I don't know how you feel about it, but like, it's kind of like, I don't want to gatekeep. I want the world to be dope.
Yeah.
So if we do something dope and someone's inspired by it and they continue that on, that's better than like, you know, gatekeeping dopeness.
I feel like that's been a hot topic too around all of these grails that Nike's released over the past year. You know, Wu-Tang Dunks, Galaxy Foam Posits, Stash Air Max 95s, Linen Air Force Ones, where there's the younger generation who didn't get to experience the shoes because they were 4 years old when they came out, or you had the older heads who weren't able to get them because you guys only made 72 pairs and they're not going to spend $10,000 on a pair of sneakers. So do you feel like it's okay not to keep these things special, or not special, but not so precious where it's like, hey, the original collectors are the only ones who have rights to the shoes?
I think what we've tried to do with this new one is have our cake and eat it too, best of both worlds, so to speak. We made some changes, you know, so it's not one for one, apples to apples, the same shoe. It's a little bit different. And so I think we've done a good job of kind of bringing it back, but making changes. One of the references I've been making around this, not to get too granular, is like, you know, I'm old enough to have seen the original Dune movie, you know, and now the new one came out. They're different. They're telling the same story. I was actually kind of hating on it at first when I heard it was going to come out, until I saw it, and then I was like, yo, this shit is dope as well. It doesn't have to be or. And as you've already mentioned, like, there's a a bunch of people on our they don't even know there was an original Dune, like younger people. So as you've mentioned, like it gives younger people access to our brand and something we've done, something we're proud of. The first brand to have ever collaborated with Jordan. It's a pretty special story that most people don't know. So the fact that we get to tell it is incredible.
To what Chris said before, we're 3-4 generations now of shoppers in.
Yeah.
And so, like anyone, there's more people in the world now. There's more access to this industry. When we started, it was, like I said, 6 to 8 stores. Now you have hundreds of stores. So it's good that everyone kind of can relive and see it how it started and live it a little bit, so it feels more authentic. It doesn't feel so kind of forced.
Yeah. Obviously, we mentioned the retro. The shoe is coming back out. You have them on feet. We have a pair here as well to compare the two. This one is like a little, the shade of green is a little darker. It's like some people get, there's a lot of discussion online when a shoe gets retroed that, oh, the color isn't different, it's just the aging on it. But this was intentionally.
You know what? To be honest, as we were designing this one, right, this being the old one, I think our intention was to try and match the original color.
Yep.
The only ones we have left have all been faded.
Yeah.
And there's no way and we worked a lot with the Jordan team, like the development team, to try and figure out. So we feel like we've landed on as close as we could have gotten to the original color, actually.
But also standards have changed.
Yeah, exactly.
In 25 years, from dyeing process to the actual materials, what existed, what didn't exist, tooling. So everything is different as well. It's evolved, again, evolution, right? So again, we got as close as possible, and that continues to let that be really special. So the 72 that are out, you're never going to see those again. That's special. So there is that argument to be made, is like we came back, but at the same time, it's V1, V2. So.
And we have made some intentional changes, but to speak to the color, we tried to match the original color, which I don't know, maybe in the future someone's going to be able to figure, out what the original color on this was, but right now they're all faded. Like all of our samples that we have, they've all been faded, so we don't know.
People that wore them, when they brought a few to some of the different conversations we've had, they're destroyed because of just aging. Yeah. Soles come off, so the natural patina of the shoe.
Yeah.
Has changed.
And you made the conscious decision to put the Nike Air on the back versus the Jumpman Air that's on the original, and that was one of the decisions to differentiate the shoes?
Yep. And back in 2004 when we were developing this, you couldn't put Nike Air on the back. Yeah. So you weren't allowed. So today you can, and so that was for sure like a conscious decision. All right, there's a couple places where we're going to make sure people understand that this is a different shoe, and that was the, I would say that's the biggest one or the most obvious one.
Yeah, I remember. I think we did a podcast with Gentry, and he had said at the time that he didn't want to put the Nike Air on the back because it would destroy the shoes for the original collectors. So I guess you guys kind of had a similar but reverse perspective on it. There was some talk online too about people saying that there were going to be 2 different versions of the shoe releasing, one with the Nike Air and one with a Jumpman Air. Like one was more limited than the other. That's just made up
rumors.
Are those so when you're doing a project like this, how do you keep everything so close to your chest and not let things get out there?
It's hard. I'll say for those people who've in the process, whenever we're designing a shoe with Jordan, or any brand really, there might be 5 or 6 pattern trials of things we're experimenting on. I don't know how, but maybe the factories get word of it or something, one of the makers, and so a lot of the rumors end up happening through pattern trials. I'll speak to we have a fragment shoe coming out later, and people were guessing at what we wanted to make, and then if the right person guesses and people believe them, that now becomes the shoe that's going to be out there. So we're sampling 6 different shoes, and it goes through. It has to get shipped from China and wherever they're getting made. So all the rumors.
It's also the information way that things get out now. People clouding and just taking
Yeah.
samples and photos of samples and kind of photoshopping on top of shit.
Yeah.
It's just
It's crazy.
everything comes out.
It's crazy.
You know?
I think people really like chaos. Even on the releases, we have these really, really clean, democratic releases,
Yeah.
and then I'll see pictures of somebody with like 5,000 pairs behind them, and people are calling me like, "What the hell?" I'm like, "Dude, I don't know. Like, we haven't even. I've got 3 pairs. You know what I mean? I don't even, like half the time. I don't even have the shoes yet. Like the company doesn't even have the shoes, and someone's already got a wall of them. And people are calling me. I'm like, I don't know, dude. And I don't know if it's photoshopped or if it's real. I could tell you from the source. We don't even have them half the time. So,
Speaking of samples, we have back here, you guys nice enough to bring some of the original samples of the shoes.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know, it's been probably a while since you've seen these, or
Yeah.
maybe
So you
not.
see, even the color on this is different because of the way the different materials patina.
Yeah.
Right.
Do you remember sampling these shoes back then, or no? Or
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. This one, obviously, we tried to do like the midsole in 2 colors.
It's
And
like a darker
obviously,
shade of green on it too.
because probably, like going to what we're saying about this, the same Pantone was called out, but this material is different than that material. Believe
so
it or
it
not,
takes the dye different.
takes the dye differently, and then obviously it's patinaed differently over the years. You know, it's just
And
which I
sometimes
think
the
is-
designer
yeah.
takes a little kind of like creative on their own.
And this one looks like a bit like waxy almost. To
Yeah.
some, to
Different
some
materials.
extent.
Yeah.
But then somebody also was like, oh, let me do one like this and let me get your thoughts. So a lot of times you get stuff that they just kind of throw in at you.
I think this was the one I was most surprised seeing.
We had done a Nike earlier, a ballistic
Yep.
dunk, and this material is called Traffic Jam, and this is the material that we used.
Yeah.
So this was kind of us trying to should
Carry
we
over.
continue that story a little bit? And we decided that we didn't want to, but
And
yeah,
it's
this-
crazy to look back too, because it's like if you had made a decision to roll with that, it's like an alternate history that you can
Yeah,
almost
exactly.
the different timeline that you can tap into. It's like if that was the sneaker, would it be what it had become?
Yeah.
And there'll be somebody rolling around in a pair of these because they'll make them in pairs and they send one to us and the left to the other and somebody kept both and they'll be rolling around
Yeah.
feeling good.
It's crazy.
Maybe once with like the Spirit on. I think there was one that we did where I was like, oh, I wish we'd have done that colorway. But no, not with these.
I'll say this, like, kudos to the Jordan design and develop team and our team as well. We spend, believe it or not, we spend like a lot of hours going over every single detail, stitch count, stitch color, you name it, we've poured over it. So by the end of the process, we're pretty confident in where we've landed, you know. Every single detail is poured over like ad nauseum. Sometimes I'm like, whatever, guys. You know, but so we've gone over it. So now I think, you know,
I think you got it right.
yeah, I think we got it right the second time too. To be honest, super, like a couple of I won't name them, but a couple of the OG staff members cried when that sample showed up.
In like
He's
tears
still
of joy.
crying.
Yes, yes, for real.
So besides,
Just call him out. Fred cried. Fred cried. He's really kind of been the diehard. So we
Yeah.
got to give love to Fred.
Fred
Lozano.
was our
Fred,
Fred
first employee.
Lozano, first employee.
Yeah.
Been there since day one.
so besides the Nike Air on the back, was there any other intentional
A
differences?
couple like different things. So Nike versus Jumpman on the bottom. Same 5 strikes in the foot sole versus I don't know what. Here was the Jumpman again. So and again, I think back in the day, we couldn't. There wasn't the agency and freedom to like co-brand as much. Jordan's evolved on that too, so we might not have been able to like put our logo.
Well, especially with the first one
Yeah,
too, there was
exactly.
no even playbook to even.
Yeah.
But that's
go
why the
over.
patch is on there because it was really,
Yeah,
really kind of making sure that Michael was really clear about don't do certain things to my shoes.
and then the other thing we did, we were again. This is super granular, but you asked, so I'll tell you.
Yeah.
You'll notice the orange kind of peeks out from the sides, so we hit it on this one. The idea was like you don't see the orange on the inside of your MA1, right?
Yeah.
Like, and so
Does
little
am I
things
tripping
like
too?
that.
Does the tongue look puffier on this one?
Yeah, it's a
than this
different
one?
material.
yeah, you're right. But that's where I'm like, it could have lost the insulation over the years. Like it could.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, but you're right. It is puffier.
There's another story too. It's actually a little bit surprising when Joe LaPuma had taken Macklemore sneaker shopping. Macklemore had made a green Jordan 6, and he had told Joe that Michael Jordan personally told him that he hates green sneakers.
I have 2 pairs. I got the greens and the clays, and he was like, I don't like green. He was like, fuck green. It reminds me of some Christmas shit. Like, no one's trying to wear some Christmas shoes.
Did you ever
know,
hear
whatever.
any of that, or that Michael doesn't like
I
green
heard he doesn't like
shoes?
comedians. That's all I've ever heard
Yeah,
about Michael.
comedians is the thing that
Yeah.
I know about. I
Green, maybe
mean,
because of the Celtics.
maybe I don't know. Probably.
You guys
I
know more stories than I do.
I know blue is his favorite color. Go figure.
Yeah.
UNC.
No, it's a different
Carolina.
blue.
No, I mean, but I feel
yeah,
it's-
but yeah, of course, yeah. But I mean, we hear weird stories like that all the time. But I'll say this: he's the type of motherfucker. Like, if he really didn't like it, this shoe
It ain't
wouldn't get
coming
made.
out, yeah.
Like for real, for real.
Like he'd put just a
For sure. So if it's true, it can't be too bad because he would stop it.
yeah. Did you get his reaction on the shoes on the second go around, or even the first go around, or
You know, I have personally never met Michael Jordan.
really?
No. Have you?
Never met him.
Never met him. Yeah.
I'm just shocked.
Yeah, no, I haven't heard any feedback. Hopefully, I mean, but I do think. That being said, I don't think anything can come out that.
He doesn't sign off on.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think.
Because I think the business part of it is like legit and really strong. So I think for him, it's just like, oh, it's great business. That's what I would think.
Yeah,
It wasn't like a bad thing.
and inevitably we're veneering his greatness, right? So this is all going back to something. It all goes back to him, somehow, some way.
So for this shoe, obviously it's a special sneaker. Do you have anything special planned for it as far as to release it?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to, I think, how many cities?
We're going to Chicago next week. Am I allowed to say that?
No, we're not allowed. Sorry. Sorry, we can't say that. We have a ton of special. Sorry. 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 Yes, we do. We have a lot of special things planned. You're gonna see it. We're gonna roll it out.
I just get text and told me to show up somewhere. That's all.
Sorry, I guess we can't speak to it yet. We still want to lean into the shock and awe.
Yeah.
You know, so for the marketing, you know, it'll be out there. Everybody will know, but we want it to be a little bit of a surprise. So forgive me.
Do you have any worries at all with? I feel like the sneaker industry or the limited sneaker industry is probably at, I don't want to say an all-time low, but it's definitely on a dip right now. And you're bringing back, you know, one of the most coveted shoes, brand-connected shoes of all time. Do you have any sort of anxiety about that tied to the current climate or market?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. It is at an all-time low, and I'd be lying if I said there wasn't some percentage, or we didn't have discussions all along about, hey, like, you know, is this the right time? Is the market ready? What I could tell you is, you know, as retailers of these shoes, when the right thing comes around, that does become an issue. So yes, there's an overarching overall kind of decline in the market right now, but when the right shoes come, they get consumed. People go crazy for it, and we feel pretty confident, very confident, this is the right shoe.
You know, the business has changed, but I don't think it's so much as a downward slide because there's so many more brands. So I think the market share has been spread around much more. And the consumers changed, right? And our habits have changed on how we consume shoes. So as a retailer with brick and mortar, it was important that something like this comes back because you want people to come back in and feel that engagement and get that emotional connection of why we're still here 25 years later as a brand. Jordan has been around longer than we have, and Nike's been around longer than Undefeated. Now, they're not going anywhere. We're not going anywhere. So I think moments like these are really important just to kind of remind you to go back out into the world, see it, see your friends, you know, kind of get more engaged in kind of just life in general, not so be stuck on buying stuff on, you know, line, et cetera, et cetera. I say that even though we have an online presence, we want people to come back into the store and don't forget that, you know, why we were here, why we started, and why we're still here. So it's important, I think, just for people in general.
But it's not like micro, like uber limited.
No, we try to make these more accessible. That's the goal.
I mean, look, you could tell from anywhere from like like Yeezy or anything like that. Number limited. That's just a word now. It doesn't really. I don't think there is such thing as limited. No one can stay in business with limited at this point. I don't know what the final number is, but
if you have like a crystal ball and you look into the future, do you ever think that there's a world where, you know, you went through everything just to get to the point where you have this shoe get retroed for the first time? Do you ever think like somewhere down the timeline there's another retro of it? I'm not saying like in 5 years, but you know.
No, I mean, if I get to look into a crystal ball, I mean,
Yeah.
I'd like to see, you know, the next generation, my kids, you know, Chris's kids, kind of in the rooms working and being like, this is what our parents set up. This is kind of their goal. This is what they want it to be. You know, that if I'm looking into crystal ball, that's what I would like to see. You know, not so much a specific shoe, but that the brand continues to do what the brand's doing, because supporting the people that we've supported. That's the crystal ball I'm looking into.
Definitely. And is there anything else you guys want to tell the viewers about the shoes that they should know about them?
No, I think, like I said, I think we kind of reviewed it all, but we think we made the right calls on what changes to make so that the original Grail stays the original Grail, and we hope that this becomes a new Grail on its own. And we're just, you know, honored to be able to retell this story to a new generation.
Awesome. Thanks, guys, for your
Thank
time.
you, man.
I really
Thank you for
appreciate
having
it.
us. Appreciate you taking the time.
I like this guy asking the tough questions. All right.
Not too hard. I don't want to. I'm
Okay.
not trying to. I'm not that guy.
I
But
like it.